This is an event I've wanted to do for so long. Bullets, Dominators and Buffaloes all in the same race. Let's go. So I'm starting toward the back. I'll explain the event, I'll explain the rules all the way through as we go through the race. We'll get the first few laps over with first of all, just while it's a little bit obviously always chaotic on the first few laps. And then I'll explain everything about the rules. So yeah, this has been made possible by PC magic, let's say, but basically PC mods, and it's probably one of the last things that we'll do with PC mods. Rockstar is starting to become quite a lot harsher on this kind of stuff, and you know, I'm not the person who uses the mods, but I don't want people to suffer any consequences for hosting events like this, just because, you know, they're essentially people who are helping us with stuff like this, are giving us the ability to do races that you wouldn't otherwise normally be able to do. But we also have 5M now with the Project Homecoming server that's kind of filling that need a little bit. So, you know, the need to do events like this on vanilla GTA is less and less. So yeah, it's gonna be probably one of the last events that we do in this unique way, but it's one that I've wanted to do for a good number of years, honestly, because, you know, ever since the game was first released, we kind of had these three cars often come up as, you know, the staple of muscle cars. The title for this event was a true muscle car race, and I think it's fair to say that a lot of people often asked why the Buffalo is in sports and not muscle cars in terms of the muscle cars class. And the same can be said often for the Bullet, because the Bullet is slow enough to sort of be on pace with some of the muscle cars. It's certainly, you know, not on the pace of the supercars, let's say. So having a race with, you know, these three cars together, they're all on the same sort of pace. We've actually had to remove the turbo from the Bullet for this one, and put it down to engine level 3 as well, just to make sure it's perfectly as balanced as possible. There's been some testing that's been done before the race, just to make sure that, you know, anybody could win the race in any car, because they're all on the same pace. And they're all in 3 separate classes. We've got the Bullet from the Supercars class, we've got the Buffalo from the Sports class, and we've got the Dominator from the Muscles class. And they're all running the same lap times. And that just goes to show, kind of, on one hand, how broken it is, Rockstar's class system, but also, you know, how good it would be if we could do multiple class races kind of like this. So the way that this works is that we've got 10 people in every single car. 10 people in a Buffalo, 10 people in a Bullet, 10 people in a Dominator. And yeah, it's just a race. There's no sort of multi-class GT1, GT2 or anything like that. Maybe you'll get a little bit of, you know, plaudits for winning your car, if you like, coming first in the Bullets, for example, or first in the Buffaloes. But in general, it's just a race, and the winner will be whoever finishes first, because all the cars are on the same sort of pace. So obviously, as always with these things, some cars are going to have strengths and weaknesses over other cars. Some are going to be better in the corners, some are going to be better on the straights, some in terms of acceleration and all that kind of stuff that we're all used to. But yeah, it's interesting to have cars from 3 separate classes, Supers, Muscle and Sports, all racing together in one big race. And I've wanted to do this kind of race with these cars in particular for a good number of years, to be honest. Oh, just got it done. Nice. So you might notice that you're seeing the same sort of colours from different cars. Is because originally I envisaged this just as a 30-player race and whoever wins wins, but I also decided to add a bit of team tactics to it. So not only do we have sort of, because we've got 10 players, one in each, 10 players in each car, I figured why not have 10 teams as well. So we've got teams where there's 10 teams, one person from each team is in each car. Oh, which way? This way. That's a big roll. So I'm driving for Los Santos Customs, which is actually the team that I drove for in the very first season of the MCC on PS3. And the teams don't really mean anything specifically in terms of the names as such and the sponsors, but I made it so that we have sort of different colours. So we've got a red team, yellow, green, blue, orange, purple, black, white, brown and pink. So, all the colours represented, and the starting positions for this race were basically determined by teams. So all the teams had an average starting position that was approximately the same. So if a team had a person starting in first place, then they'd also have a person starting in 30th place. So it was up to each team to then decide which of their members, where their members started within that range. So our team, I think, have someone starting sort of in the top 5. I can't remember exactly where. I started in 25th place, and then we had our Buffalo driver start a little bit ahead. So it just adds a little bit of extra thing to it. And in the description, I'll put the results for the teams as well as you'll see obviously the race results at the end of the race, but I'll put the team results, see which team did the best. But it's mainly a race for everybody. See, there you can see, I caught up in the corners, but then the Dominator has been pulling away in the higher top speed sections. So it's really, really good to see this sort of thing together. These cars finally racing 3 different classes in one race, and we're all on the same pace. But yeah, although that this may look like stream footage, obviously with the camera and overlay and stuff, it's only because I'm using OBS to record this. It's actually not stream footage. I'm just recording this as it's happening, not streaming it. So first race in the GTA Live racing series for a while, where it's just been recorded specifically for YouTube, I guess. Alright, we're on to lap 5 now, and at this point you're allowed to make your pit stop. So there you have to make 1 pit stop during this race, and you can do it at any point after lap 5. So we're at that point now, so we might start to see some pit stops. It's probably not going to make a massive difference to sort of the overall result or anything like that. With it only being 1 pit stop, we might not get any particular tactics that can be used or anything like that, but it just adds a little bit of something to it with pit stops. Makes it feel more like a proper race. It should be about 45 minutes long, the race as well, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. I don't know whether I'm going to put up sort of the full race. Obviously this is a nonchalant dominance event, my racing crew. I'll leave links to there if you want to get involved in proper racing events like this. Obviously not quite as unique as this, but still, links will be in the description. But a lot of good drivers in here, certainly some better drivers than me, and it might come a point where it's quite boring. Nothing happening in the race, for example. I'm not battling with anybody, or I'm just following for a few laps like here. I don't know whether I'll just put the full race up, or I'll highlight it and cut out boring parts, which is something that I normally do, but some people have said that they quite like just watching the full thing. But I'll make that decision afterwards. Maybe it'll be action-packed every race, who knows. Every lap, I should say. But yeah, only possible to do this on PC with the use of mods, of course, which is a shame. It's a shame that we don't have the ability to have multi-class races. Something that we've wanted for a while, to add some variety to races and not be stuck with Rockstar's, you know, system and class allocations that they force cars into that might not be necessarily the best places for them. I did talk of doing this event with a drift tamper at one point instead of the Buffalo, and obviously you can always go, you know, Pisswasser Dominator as well a little bit. Put the, you know, leave the turbo on the on the blade, the bullet, and use a Pisswasser Dominator instead. Things like that. Different cars could work for something like this. There's a wide variety of cars in, obviously the supers. Well, really the supers. It's the Buffalo. It's the bullet plus, you know, another selection of cars. But I decided to sort of go with these 3 cars because they're original cars from when the game was first released, and they've kind of always been in my mind of the cars that sort of people always look to when they think of why isn't that car in the muscle class. Oh, that was close. Haven't had a lot of practice on this track. I did 3 laps before the race started, so I think I'm going to struggle to get into the top 10, but hopefully we can get some decent racing with some different cars. I'm not going to be getting the sort of top lap times that the leaders end up getting, I'm sure. Oh, no way! Oh, that's not good. I don't think I've ever experienced that before. Hitting that barrier in such a way that it caused that to happen. Damn it. I was just getting into it. Just starting to, you know, close up on the back of that Dominator. Okay. Well. So I still obviously have my pit stop to make. I imagine most people still will. Again, it's only one pit stop. You can see some people putting in the chat, the text chat, that they've made their stop. Some people choose to do that, some don't. It's up to the various people. I'm obviously also, you know, racing on PC, and I have to be aware that there's probably certain bumps that I can catch that I'm not necessarily used to on console, like going into the dead there. Probably lose time, give away some time by not going for those. That was a damn shame hitting that barrier. Just a weird contact. So I'm currently in 15th, sort of top half, I guess. Although we did have 1 or 2 non-starters. I've had a pretty lackluster performance so far, I think. Very careful about not hitting that time. So yeah, I'm just enjoying this, to be honest. I'm not looking, you know, like I said, I haven't done all that much practice. I'm not looking to get a great performance out of this. Obviously it's always nice if you do well, but I'm just kind of enjoying the experience of racing these cars in this way. All together. Go for my stop now. So this is the only stop I need to make. I don't know who around me has already made a stop. We'll see where I end up by the end of the race, obviously. After everybody's made their stop, someone might leave it till the last lap, for example. You know, you just don't know who's made their stops and when. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully that mid-pack all slow themselves down, get involved in some accidents or something, and I can, you know, overhaul them when they make their pits. Maybe they've already made their pits, who knows. The reason that I chose the Bullet in this one instead of the Dominator or the Buffalo, on the one hand I've already used the Buffalo recently in an event, and I always use the Pisswasser Dominator in muscle car races, so I very rarely use the Bullet. Do you know, I'm getting mixed up with the names all the time. I very rarely use the Bullet, so, you know, I took this chance to race the Bullet in an event where it's going to be, you know, on the pace at least, even though it doesn't have turbo and engine, which hopefully hasn't hampered it too much, but it didn't seem to based on the testing that people were doing beforehand. Ugh. It's not a bad car, the Bullet, to be honest. I don't mind driving it. It's not, you know, it's pretty fun to drive. It's just put in the supercars class with cars that are, you know, 10 seconds per lap quicker than it on a 1 minute lap. Alright, someone just came out of the pits there. There is a long line ahead of us, you know, this mid-pack, probably from 10th place down over, is all quite, well, relatively close together at least. This is going to be... No, I'll have to back off. I could have carried more speed through there though. I wonder if they get involved in an incident. It looks like the Dominator has slowed down. He must have been the cause of that. That's what we do. Clean racing in the crew. Proper racing. If you crash somebody out, you let them back through again. Obviously you try not to take anybody out. You try to overtake cleanly. Use a bit of skill. Instead of just knocking somebody out of the way. I think this is the corner that I'm suffering on the most. I'm not really getting to grips with that second to last corner. So I think the Dominator obviously has the top speed advantage. The Buffalo should have the cornering advantage. And the Bullet is probably the better all-rounder, maybe. Very defensive I went there, probably a little bit too defensive. The Dominators are looking pretty tasty at the moment with that decent, you know, top speed. As long as you can sort of handle a good top speed car around the corners, they'll normally do you quite well in a racing situation because, you know, overtaking somebody in terms of braking or cornering is a lot more difficult than it is to overtake somebody on the straights. So if you have a good car with top speed and you can get a good run, it's generally a little bit easier to sort of make some overtakes. Oh, that was close. Oh, that was close. Oh, that was close. A little bit ragged. A little bit better on that corner, I think. It's better there as well. So, not even halfway through the race yet. Pit stop done at least, so I don't need to worry about that. This Dominator is hounding me. Defending, it's difficult because I'm trying to, you know, defend to keep the position, but I'm also thinking about trying to catch up to people ahead of me. It's very difficult to do both. You've got to sort of balance how much you defend if you're wanting to also try to catch up to people. That's why I felt like I went a bit too defensive into the corner on the last lap. This lap was a bit better. Starting to sort of come into it a little bit more with the bullet. Getting a bit more comfortable with the car. And the track as well. Oh no! That same barrier again! Oh well. Again, just as I was catching up to the bullet that was ahead of me. Same situation. Catching up to a car, pushed it a little bit too much in that corner and then got a nasty contact. You got to be careful on that barrier. Oh well. And that's the bullet that I was chasing. Now made his pit stop. So I would have overtaken him if he'd if I'd not made that mistake. I mean, I would have been much further up the grid if it hadn't been those two errors on the barrier. It's so frustrating. I mean, it's my error, it's my fault. I should have learned my lesson from the first one, but I guess the first one looked like it was just a bit of a weird contact, like a bit of the prop sticking out or something, but that one I went straight over it. Damn it. This hasn't been one of my better performances already. Oh, Dominator's had issues again, so we're actually back. At least the bullet that's ahead of me and the Dominator that's behind me are back in the same positions relative to each other. It's just that we're behind a few others in the meantime. Mistakes, very costly in racing. Especially when everybody is, you know, so close in terms of lap time. One mistake and then you're not getting that time back. So I don't even know what to aim for at this point. Top half again, maybe, if I'm lucky. You know, like top 15 might be possible. Those two errors have been very, very costly. This mid-pack appears to be quite close. Like I said, even from 10th downwards, and I think those two errors have, at the moment, cost me the ability to at least fight for, say, a top 10 position. We've got a Buffalo, a Dominator, and a Bullet ahead though. if we can try and work our way up to those, maybe we can get involved in a little bit of a battle. It's what I want more than anything, just to have some decent racing, which we've had a little bit of between the 3 cars so far, but my mistakes have been costly to my overall performance. So, 3-way battle over 14th, 15th, 16th places just ahead of us. Can I make an impression? Alright, let's try and be better. See, the Buffalo is good in the corners, it does have some good traction. Oof. Get scared every time I go towards that now. 10 laps to go. I think the Bullet has the edge on the sort of top speed over the Buffalo as well. It's not like Dominator levels of top speed, but it does have the edge over the Buffalo at least. But the Buffalo's got the speed around the corners. Alright, we got a bit of a train. Dominator's got the top speed. No point fighting it at this point. See if I can follow for a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dominator had the best lap. Although I know Merphos is driving the Dominator, but there are some very good drivers in this that are probably on his level in this race anyway, so it'll be interesting to see the makeup of the top few, what kind of lap times the best in each car gets. Big old train. It's on the fringes of the top 10 at the head of this train. I could really do with this Dominator just getting past me and not making more mistakes. Oh, Jesus. He disappeared. Okay, that was some lag. we were side by side and then he disappeared. That was weird. Just GTA things, I guess. Alright, so we got two Dominators ahead. That Bullet, who I've been pretty much neck and neck with all the way through. A bit wide there. I'm in a Dominator sandwich. I've got Dominators ahead of me, Dominator behind. Dominators everywhere. Bit of a train. Oh, Jesus. That's also another difficulty when you're racing against high top speed cars, is that it's very difficult to get into an overtaking spot. Because, you know, even if you get a better run out of a corner, by the time you get to the end of the straight to go for a dive down the inside, they've pulled the gap. Like here, I got a better run out of the corner there, but I closed up a little bit and then he drives away just a little bit towards the end of the straight. And I'm not in a position to go for the overtake. I've still got a Dominator behind me. This is what it's all about. Racing different cars together like this, strengths and weaknesses in different areas. Someone made a mistake there. I thought I saw it. I knew I could make hay. No, no, no. Dominators everywhere. I'm just in a race against Dominators. It's a bit of a train. I'm in a Dominator sandwich. I'm in a Dominator behind me. I'm just in a race against Dominators. 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 I'm just in a race against Do See, I got a better exit again out of the corner. And I pulled towards, but now it's leveling out a bit, and now he's pulling away towards the end of the straight. Struggle against that Dominator behind me on this long run, I think. Wait, did he clip the barrier again? I feel like I should be doing a little bit better around here. I don't know what happened to him, but that Dominator's gone behind me. So I can start to think forward a little bit more without worrying about defending. Maybe I can get this Dominator as well. Can I get the better of the Dominators? So close. That's what's so good about sort of events like this in a proper racing crew. You have people of all sort of skill levels and practice levels as well, and there's always somebody to race with, and it's always very close between the people who you're racing against, and you've all got the same mindset to race properly and cleanly. Oh! Okay, I'll take that. Looks like I'm back to defending against the Dominator. '13th position. That's actually better than I was expecting I'd manage after the first couple of laps. After those first two mistakes, I was thinking, wow, this isn't gonna go well. I should have put in more practice. I've sort of come into the race a bit more as the race has gone on. Gotten the feel of the car a bit more. Four laps to go. Can't see me catching 12th place. So it's going to be a case of just sort of holding this position, I think, if I can do it. Won't be doing it if I do any more of that. There's a train of 4 cars behind me. Three of them I think are Dominators. There could be another one in there. Could just be... This has been a race of battling against Dominators. assuming everybody has done their pits at this point as well, of course. Might not be the case, but most people probably have at this late stage. Had a much better second half of that lap than I've done at any point during the race, I think. Again, still learning, you know, even as the race is going on, learning every lap, getting better and better. That's what happens when you don't put enough practice in before the race. But sometimes it's nice to throw yourself into a race and learn as you go as well. That train of 4 cars are still battling nose to tail, but they've dropped off the back of me quite a bit, so I'm okay with that. I am catching to 12th place. I was not expecting this, actually. Seem to have come on a lot stronger in this latter half of the race, definitely. But if you were to compare my lap times, or my laps themselves, side by side or whatever, from the start of the race to now, it'd be a big difference. Closing up. Might run out of laps. Well, here we go. It's closed right up. Last lap. GG Merphos for the win. He wasn't a Dominator. is amazing. I've gapped that pack of Dominators that I was racing with. I've managed to catch up and then pass that Buffalo for 12th place that I was miles behind. I've had a much better last, say, quarter of the race. And just came into it much better. Happy with that. To rally after the early mistakes. That was fun. That was really fun to do. That's a race I've wanted to do for so long, and I'm so happy I've been able to do it. Way off the pace in terms of best lap, as you'd expect. But we had 2 Dominators. The blades are the bullets, so we had 2 bullets. The best Buffalo is actually down in 10th place. Didn't have the top speed, I don't think. And 2 Buffaloes behind me, then some more Dominators. No, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. It was really good to get this race done. Buffaloes, bullets and Dominators, supers, sports and muscle cars, all in the same race. A lot of fun. So, like I said, I'll leave various links that I was talking about in the description, but also the final team results as well. We'll see how the teams did, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was good fun.